Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Timberborn with me, Alpha Pi Omega, and Soggy Logs. So, we are starting a new episode by just getting our wet season after the bad tide that has been hitting us dramatically the past few weeks. We are doing really good on water. That is no longer an issue, and we're actually overspilling like crazy, but that happens every single time when I'm setting up the flow. It always overspills, then it equalizes and everything is fine. So we need just to fill this one, then the water will start spilling through here and everything will be fine. So please ignore it. This is normal. If I speed it up, it's gonna clear out pretty quicker, but you will see it clear out anyway. So as I was saying, the water is no longer an issue. We are doing great. What is an issue though are the carrots, or more like the food. The badtides have been decimating our crops everywhere, and it is starting to become a real issue. Normally I wouldn't really care, but you know, just a few episodes, or maybe even in the last episode, we had something like 1700 carrots, and now we're at 898, which is not great. And it's only going to go down until we get this stuff cleared. So I'm really hoping that the stuff, the sludge, you know, or the bat seam basically, is going to clear out now that we're having sources of fresh water. And we're hoping that drought is going to come next, which will help us a lot with, you know, how would you say that? Like normalizing, I guess is the right word. Normalizing our production, normalizing our crop rotation and everything. The other islands are also doing pretty well, but you know, for them it's best if you do this. I think I've already shown this trick before. You basically just close it off and have the water overspill all around the island, which in turn clears out the water around it and thus leaves the corruption to go away, or bids it to go away, not leaves, but you know. By clearing out the water around the entire island, you get rid of the corruption. And now when I open it, and how did I open it? Here a little, you will see that these tiles are no longer corrupt. So we can, no, they still are. But these ones aren't. These ones cleared. Okay, I would have to leave it for a little bit longer, but you get the point, because this is no longer polluted, and this area is not polluted either. We will need to rebuild this area too. Anyway, I'm sort of drifting. What are the plans for today's episode? Well, I have a number of plans, and none of them are really our priority. The priority will be to solve the situation with food, because we need to make sure that our beavers won't starve, especially now that we have cleared out, you know, the problems with the water. It would be a shame if, you know, they had enough water but starved to death. I wouldn't really like that. So the goals to do, well, first one first, we need to finalize this. It's not enough, and in essence it's not even finished. I was really hoping that three times, is it 4? 3 times 4, yes. 3 times 4 would be enough for us to actually have enough throughput so that the water on the map would start reducing, but it's not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just finalize the gates, and I'm gonna decide whether we expand it or whether we create another one somewhere else. What the plan is gonna be, we'll see. But this is our priority number 1. Second priority is to finalize this zipline, because further in the future I would also like to clear out this bad sea source, or bad water source, not bad sea source, bad water source, and have it directed out of the map, same way as we did here or here, because again, that's going to be one less water source to deal with. And I think that, you know, if we remove 1, 2, maybe 3, we will then find out that the level of the sea will either stop rising or it is actually going to start decreasing, at which point we can moderate the amount of water that we have here by using these gates. And last but not least, I intend to make the river a little bit deeper. You can see that we're already working on that. We are setting up the dynamites everywhere so that we can extend the depth of the river, thus having more water in there for potential droughts, and again retaining more water in the entirety of the island. So the river is the priority. With the amount of water that we have and we store it, I don't consider demolishing these areas a priority. It would also help us, if we could just get rid of some of these tiles. Like this one, this one, this one, but it would require us to build platforms among these water pumps, so I'm not in a hurry, but this one I want to finish. So once all of them are there, we are going to explode them. And again, if we are effective and we can finish all of these things in this episode, we are going to work on this bad water source. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna end this update by hoping that the Badtide is gonna clear out a little bit, because it's just so depressing. I don't know if you guys enjoy the view, but I've been looking at it for hours on length, and it's just depressing. It looks like rust and muck. So I miss the It was never really clear, but it was never really like this sludge. So let's hope that we will be able to come back with some good news. Day 4 of Cycle 21, and lo and behold, we have another Badtide approaching. I am speechless. The game have decided to hit us hard. I was really happy with where we were. Like, we fixed the problem with the water, and now everything was supposed to be good, and now it won't. Great, we're just gonna suffer. Well, the food source, or the food supply is dwindling. We are down to 678 carrots, and it doesn't seem to be better. So soon we will have to take on some drastic measures to fix our situation. But I'm still hoping that, by working on this area, we might eventually fix the problem, because we will lower the level of the Badtide and thus fix this entire issue in its all effect. But we'll see. Anyway, on the plus side, we have like the dynamites. So, boom. There we go. And now you can see the river is deeper. And we're gonna do the same thing over here. My hope is that with the depth of the water here, we might repel a little bit of the corruption. But it's a futile hope, doesn't really matter. Alright, what I'll have to do next is I'll rebuild these areas. I'll have to tear them down, put some dynamite in there as well, so that we can rebuild it afterwards and have it a little bit clearer. Oh, actually didn't some of these... Yeah, okay, some of these tiles probably are regenerating a little bit. Well, let's hope. We need every single tile that we can get from the angry bosom of Mother Nature, which is really not giving us any favors here. Day 7 of the 21st cycle, and the Badtide is starting. The only good news is that it's a 15-day long one, so I hope that we can get through it. But I'm really worried about our food sources. We are down to 556 carrots, which is really bad. So we will need to do some immediate and massive actions. Thinking about replanting everything to carrots once we get the ability. We'll also need to extend the amount of water that's draining from the map, because it just doesn't help. You can see there's an overflow in many places, so this is just not enough. And we will then need to figure out how to assure that we will not continue dropping when it comes down to food. This is also completely useless because the bad water keeps killing it. Now, because of the water has cleared a little bit, we have replanted the wheat, but I really doubt that it's gonna be here for 10 days, so that's just useless. I was also thinking of putting some carrots there, but I don't know, it's just dead most of the time. It doesn't really work for us. So this entire situation needs to be amended somehow, but that's a secondary issue right now. Oh, Grandmother Grove, you must have lost all faith in our broken souls. Now, one piece of good news is that we finished the zip line and we started the construction of a protective wall here because, again, the bad water is everywhere. You can see that we still have a couple of diseased beavers, or not diseased, contaminated, that's the right word, contaminated beavers. We have a lot of antidote for them, so none of them are dying, but it makes me sad to see them just waddle around all sick and feeble. So I'm hoping that, you know, once we finish this, we could make them stay in the clear areas completely. This is another issue because, you know, they need to get in here and they waddle through this filth, but oh yeah, this one has already spent too much, so this one will already get sick. But I'm hoping that if we drain more, the edges will remain safe, plus, you know, all of the stations that we are building are in a secure area. Well, I mean, not this one. What the hell are you guys doing here? Oh no, you're just... Okay, they're waddling through here to get there. Why don't you take this? That would have been such a better way. I guess the pathfinding made this shorter. Never mind. Never mind. Anyway, after this Badtide, I'm really hoping that we will catch a little bit of a breath, because this is really bad, and it is crazy when you think about the fact that our beavers, now that they have enough water, can have a full-on famine breakout, you know, and starve to death. Good news would be that it would be probably just partial culling, because only certain beavers would die, not all of them. But that is a very bleak outlook, you know, and I take pride in nobody dying due to dehydration, contamination, or hunger. So I just hope that this is not going to be any different. I hope. I pray. Day 9 of cycle 21. And the food situation is getting worse. We are now down to 450 carrots, and that's not good. But I do have some good news after all. We have actually blown up a few more spots on the side of our floodgates, and we no longer have any overspill anywhere. When you look at the edge of the map, the water is no longer overspilling, which leads me to believe that this is exactly the level that we are getting in the map. So what that means is that right now all of the farm tiles are back in production. I still think that we will need to replant the sunflowers into carrots, but we are now back to full capacity. The fact that, you know, the amount of food is still going down, and of course, you know, that our wheat has died, leads me to believe that, you know, we will be fine here. But again, we need to optimize our food situation. But yeah, we have finally leached the map enough that we got in here. But no, what I wanted to say is that we reached an equilibrium where, you know, there is the same amount of water coming onto the map as is leaving. It also means that this area is now safe for beavers. They can work here in peace, function as adults, and I'm really happy. So the positive outcomes are coming. We are not giving up. We are fighting for our lives, for the lives of our beavers, I guess, technically, but we are fighting for our lives. We do not want to lay down and take it from the game. So, okay, step 1 is done. We managed to, you know, again, no overspill anywhere, which makes me really happy. So that is step 1. Yeah, because even in Badtide, now you can see that, you know, we will be able, especially with the deepening of the river, we are able to make sure that everything, well, with the exception of these 3 trees, is nice and irrigated. All right, so that's the good news. The only downside is that we will need to eventually create 2 more floodgates here to, you know, work with the fleet that we have already built. But I don't know, that's not a major cost for us. It's just the cost of 2 floodgates, and not even the big ones. We'll just build the smaller ones, which we actually haven't unlocked. All right, so I'll probably just blow up a little bit more. That way we'll build another 2 triple floodgates there, and we can, you know, close it off, open it off, depending on what the situation is gonna be up. So yeah, things are looking a little bit positive. Oh, and as I've been talking, the food situation keeps getting worse. My god, my god, my god. Day 13 of cycle 21. And our carrot situation is getting progressively worse. We are now down to 189, which is bad. I haven't yet replanted the sunflowers because I wanted to see if this won't clear itself out, but it won't. So we really have to take that step. However, this is not all bad. I think we might have another close one here because, you know, we keep... I mean, it definitely slowed down. The decrease of food has slowed down, and we keep beavers harvesting, you know, the carrots and everything. So we will be hopefully okay, and there will be no full-on famine. More importantly, with the operation that we took here and enlarging to the full-on 3 levels of holes on each side, we can clearly see that the bad sea is decreasing in height, and it's actually going down everywhere. You can see it clearly, which is amazing. I'm really happy. Before I actually noticed that, I have ordered the construction of this monstrosity here, but I decided that I'm just gonna keep it, even though it's a little bit wasteful because we will most likely never need this level at all. However, I will be completely honest, I am absolutely paranoid what the map can bring to us in the upcoming seasons. I always feel like I'm finally secure and then something horrifying happens. So yeah, let's just rather be safe than not, and build it robustly and have it, you know, constructed well. Not to mention, this is another place where we could have a really good water wheel. I have designed it so that all of the water will be going through here, and thus giving us a decent enough, like this, decent enough source of power if we need it. I don't have any plans to build anything here, but you know, we'll see what the situation is going to be like. This whole sludge sea should be eventually cleared out to a clear, beautiful blue, and we're not going to stop before we achieve that. At which point, you know, the population and everything is going to be somewhere completely different. So every, you know, plan ahead. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah. Speaking of planning ahead, I've actually started a further extension in here. Because we keep just getting in here, I decided to build another zipline station here, which is hopefully going to cut the travel time for all beavers. They no longer have to wallow through sludge, thank God. But they do so over here, which is one of the reasons why I'm so angry. So what I want to do is, because each zipline pylon and zipline station actually can have only 2 connections. Once this one is finished, we will connect it here, and from this new station, we will have an additional route over there. So that's gonna work. The fact that I'm building a station here should also tell you that I am thinking of building a mega structure over here, which, you know, we discussed before. There is a source of water here, so in case the Badtide hits us, this one will need to be rerouted here, and I think this is a perfect area for us to have an actual main source of energy. You could build a number of water wheels here in parallel or behind each other, and just, you know, create a huge amount of power that could work for whatever reasons you want to do here. One of the things that I was thinking about, but I'll need to check it because I'm not entirely sure about it, is the mechanical fluid pump. I already checked that it's written right there, that it needs 700 power. And that would be okay if we had 2 or 3 water wheels here. I could just build um, what is it called? I always forget that. A power shaft from the water wheels to here and have it pump water in here, but I'm not entirely sure, and I'll just have to check that if the food pump can actually distinguish between regular water and bad water, because it says it can pump both, but I hope that you can pump either, not only whatever is, it dipping in, but in that case we could just flood this as the original plant and have it work as a water farm, because again, this is not working for anyone. It's just either it's drying or it gets contaminated. It's completely useless. And then we built so much infrastructure that was working for some time. I hate that it's not working anymore. If the goddamn Badtide wouldn't just plague us like this, we would be okay. So yeah, we'll see about that. Anyway, last thing that I want to mention is that when the wet season comes, we have to do something with this. It's just horrifying. The entire corridor here, I thought that it would be enough, but it is not at all. I mean, you cannot even see the island, how it's overflowing with sludge. But I think that we will need to extend this heavily to create a sort of a channel for the water, which we then can easily just, lead to the edge of the map and remove one of the main sources of bad water that's coming in here. And it would kind of work well with this one, because again, if we dry out the entirety of the Bad Sea, you could make a channel from here somehow into this area or connect it, or I don't know. It's such a crazy thing. Positive news though is that because we have so much water now all the time, the farming or the plantation for trees is doing great. Even without this one, which was a nice addition, we're still doing pretty good on logs. So you can see that the construction is going really well. We've finished, the supply station here. We are finishing, or we will finish these 2 new gates. They will work on this supply station. So, that's pretty good. And I also want to reconfirm that none of our beavers have still died of disease or contamination or, hunger or thirst. So leave no beaver behind. That is our motto. Day 17 of the 21st cycle. And, well, I'm going to start by saying that the food situation is not getting better. We are, again, down to 173 carrots. But I am relatively sure that we are now at a sort of an equilibrium where we are harvesting enough carrots every day that the amount we have is not completely dwindling, but it is also not increasing in any way. And I would bet there might be a little bit of a downward stick where we are losing a few every day. So we will definitely now start the replanting process. We can put the sunflowers back for variety when we get back to a full storage of carrots, which is I think 1,800 carrots. But until then, we just need to make sure that we have more carrots here. Because, having a secure food store is a priority. And then we can play with variety as much as we want, or just, slowly increase it. Increase the variety, but right now it's not helping us. Anyway, in other news, we have finished the new supply station. As you can see, I've done exactly what I was talking about, and it greatly helped us with the construction of the 2 triple floodgates, because the beavers can now directly access this area without any issues. So in the future, we are going to see the construction here going much more smoothly. I'd also like to say that you can see that we are definitely drying out the Bad Sea at this point, which I am not really feeling bad, because we can later refill it with good water when we finally get the wet season. And drought, maybe. That would be nice. That would be really nice. But for now, we're not getting either of that. We are just dumping all of this ugly, awful water away from the map. So, Yeah, I guess that's all that I wanted to update you on now. The construction here is going well. You can see that we finalized the original protection wall, and now we are gonna start working on this. And you can see that we are now up to 96 logs, 94. So the construction should be relatively quick, even though we will need a large amount of logs, a couple hundred at least, to finish it. But then another source of bad water is going to be going off the map, which will only make the whole process of drying out this ugly sea faster. Which, actually, one thing that I wanted to mention is I was thinking of landscaping this area a little bit more. If we could just blow up the... Well, we're not going to be able to blow up it here, but, you know, we could build like a corridor here for the bad water, and it's actually looking pretty good. There is one technology that I never used before in the game. I'm not sure if it would be worth going with right now. Where is it? It's under landscaping. Yes, the dirt excavator. That allows you to gain dirt, and you can then put it somewhere else and basically reshape the area. So we could maybe do something like that over here. I've never used it before. It doesn't really require... What is this? Plus 4 workers, 200 horsepower, terrain block. Yeah, they can then just dump the terrain blocks here. So, you know, that's one thing that we could also try, apart from the wood blocks that we have. But this is a really late game technology and costs 2,000. But I mean, you got 3,100 science stored, so it's not like that would be a major issue. Heavy duty mining rig collecting dirt. It will continue to produce dirt even after reaching the bedrock. Yeah, so I guess this just keeps dropping deeper and deeper into the... Could put it somewhere nice and have it like somewhere like here, and just have it drill down and down, so that it's not... Well, that actually is not a bad idea. And we could also use this to extend our own island eventually. I wasn't really thinking about it that way. Well, it is a possibility, you know, and possibilities are endless. Day 1 of the 22nd cycle, and the wet season is here. My god, how much I love this moment when the green water starts appearing on the map. It makes me so happy. Anyway, I just want to say that I really hope that drought is coming next, because it's just crazy. Like, we have had 2, maybe 3 Badtides in a row. I guess maybe 2, but it felt like 3. And it is taking a toll on me, because I really do not like the map, and I wonder why it is. I keep talking about it, but I'm not sure if you guys feel that the depression seeping in from just seeing the updates. But, you know, when you look at the awful reddish, you know, rust color of the water, it just makes me so depressed. It's just so awful. And even the, you know, the irrigated parts get like a nasty sheen from the reflection. It's really not nice. They did a great job at showing the, you know, terrible effect that this can have on you. Anyway, my plan is to keep the gates open for a day or 2, so that we get rid of most of the sludge, and then we're gonna close it and replenish the water a little bit. As you can see, I've replanted large portions already with carrots here, as we discussed, and I'm just... they're clearing them out as we speak. Some of them needed to be cleared, but we still have only 129 carrots. So, I mean, effectively we made it, you know. There is no famine, there is still food. The fact that there's so little of it should worry us, but with the extensions that we're doing here, it should really be nice. So let's just hope that that's gonna be the case. On the topic of wood, we're actually doing really great. We have 58 logs. We've been continuously constructing here without any stop. There hasn't been no delays. It's just going. So for us, that means that, you know, another source of bad water is gonna go away, and I'm really happy about that. Positive news also, no more contaminated beavers at this case, especially because, you know, they no longer have to trudge through here. But this is going to be my next big project. I want to rebuild this somehow. I have to figure out what to do with it. I'm not entirely sure. By the way, this area is completely dead because it's dried out. The water has went too low, so they are not irrigated at all. So it's useless completely, even for carrots or whatever you would want to put there. So that's one of the reasons why I want to actually close this and have the water climb up again. Nice, all of the carrots are gone. These ones are, sorry, not all the carrots, all the sunflowers are gone, and these ones need to be the next ones. So we are replenishing the water in the silo. That is great. 2,700 water is not bad after a, you know, dry season. So I'm replenishing the water here so that all of these tiles and these tiles are irrigated again just from, you know, the main reservoir, because otherwise they just die out. Man, so much green again. That is so beautiful. But the edges are now all dead when you realize, because they're either corrupted or the water is too low for any kind of an effect. That's interesting. And we can just continue dumping water out of the map and lowering the sea as much as we want. That's a nice thought when you think about it. Maybe we should do that and just see what the actual effect of it is gonna be. How that there would definitely be some kind of like lakes and seas, not seas, but lakes and rivers created naturally, and we'll see how they will actually work around themselves on the map, which would help with the excavation and everything. I'll give it a thought. We'll see. Day 4 of Cycle 22, and we got another Badtide. I really can't do this anymore. It's another one. It's like third, fourth in a row. What are the chances? Are we gonna get only Badtides from now on? I really hope not. The food production is not moving anywhere. We're still down to 156 carrots, so that is a massive issue. I even started, as I planned, to, you know, close the water or the dams and have more water in this bad sea. But what happens is the goddamn water is so corrupted that it started polluting the crops again. So I just decided to, you know, empty it and get it all out, because it really isn't doing us any favors here. And because of the Badtide coming, we will not be able to plant here anything anyway. So yeah, the only other thing that I could think of, because we have so much logs stored right now, I decided that I will remove these two rows of trees and instead plant another carrot area. So, you know, we're not only extending it here and here and here and everywhere, but we'll have additional, which definitely should fix the situation for us. But yeah, this is just great news. It's just crazy. God help us. Anyway, in another terrible news, I have extended this area thinking that it would fix the issue, but lo and behold, it does not. This is still not enough throughput for, you know, what we are getting here. So even with this, the water starts overspilling, immediately killing. I mean, when it's bad water, you know, it's gonna kill everything that we have here. That is absolutely crazy. I don't know how high this has to be. Or no, not how high, how wide this is to be. I mean, I have my guess is like next door, but I created this plan to have the water just come through here, and I now have to rebuild it or redesign it because this is just not working. It's not enough. It's still not enough. That's... Man, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here because like everything I try is just not working. But you know, we're getting a little bit more green because, you know, the water is now starting to be a little bit more clear. But it's not really helping us with what we need to do. You guys are still corrupted, yes, contaminated. I guess there's no source of good water in here. So all the water that's coming in here is just bad water. Okay, let me see. Is there something good here? Alright, that is a good water source here, which I didn't know, but you can actually see it on the map. This one would actually flow like this. Yeah, I'm half decided that we're gonna just drain the sea to make life a little bit easier. We can irrigate this area if we need to. I was even thinking about blowing up an extra, not like, you know, tile, but extra way the river can go over here, so that we could dump some water here to fight the contamination coming from here. But no, I mean, it's just so pointless. It's fighting the symptoms, it's not fighting the issues, and that is what we need to do here. So, yeah. 2.3 days for the next Badtide to hit us. God, I can't do this anymore! Day 7 of the 22nd cycle. And the Badtide has just started. This one will be 23 days long. And oh boy, will we feel every day of that. I don't want to sound salty. I think we'll be okay, but, you know, on one hand, I have to admit that I'm really happy that the game still throws me challenges like this. You know, I hate when the game is too easy, but this challenge island has become an everlasting challenge. Since the beginning, we've just kept running into situations that complicate our life significantly. So yeah, well, we're ready. We have water, we have a full reservoir, and we have 105 carrots. As you can see, I have limited the plantation of trees by these 2 rows. The fields will be extended here to further boost our food production, and the same thing will happen here, which I really do hope will fix our situation with the troubles that we had with food. In the meantime, we are dumping all of the water out of the map to get rid of all of the bad water, and well, 23 more days of this. Oh, I'm ending the episode here, but I wanted to still tell you about the plans for the next one. So there's gonna be 3 major things we will aim to do next time. Well, first of all, of course, the food situation that needs to be fixed. That is without a question. Second, we will need to figure out what to do. Well, I mean, figure out what to do. We will need to fix this island. Actually, we've already managed to fix it in a sort of a way. I have widened the gap here significantly. Oh, we actually do have dynamites here, so we can blow these ones up, which will mean that... Oh, wow! Okay. So that actually worked out fine. Alrighty then. Okay, well, that is a surprise. Anyway, that means that we can actually fix this. Alright, you know what? We're gonna design this together. There is a thing that I wanted to do for a long while, and while our beavers are working on this Badtide corridor, which, well, I mean that Badwater corridor. I keep mixing these words, you know, Batsea, Badtide. I apologize for that, but this is a priority. We need to fix this. So I'm gonna mark it as a priority for the beavers to work on, and in the meantime we are going to design the 3rd island, which will be built in the next episode as a secondary priority. So you see that, you know, I wanted to have, again, I'm trying to build these things as robust as possible for the future, even if it's a little bit wasteful. So we'll need a triple floodgate here, which is going to be connected to these guys. And we are going to... Do we have any? No, okay. No wood is left behind. We're gonna build this here, extending the row or path like this. And that actually means that if we... Does the water spill? No, it doesn't. Okay, it just goes here. So this is fine. We don't even need to do anything else here. Let me just... Okay, so we need to... It just looks off, really. Alright, let's fix this. I don't like how it looks. Let me just fix that. Let me just quickly fix that, because what we'll need to do here is we'll need to, anyway, continue with the construction like this. To connect it. And because the flow of the water is going this way, we will need to create a channel that is going to dump the water off the map in this area. Which actually... Now that I think about it, we could blow this part up to make it a little bit easier on ourselves. But I have such a wide channel. Nah, let's just build the old-fashioned way. I like the old-fashioned. You know what? No, let's actually experiment a little bit with this. So I'll have you built like this. I'll have you built like this. This is going to be the channel. I'll build it a little bit taller just to make sure that it works. And this part, we need it? No, we don't. Okay, there's nothing important there, so we can kill this path. And I can actually bomb this. Where's the landscaping here? We can bomb this so that there is an actual outflow already. Alright, it makes sense. But one thing that actually, what if the good water will come? Well, I can, of course, open it here and let the water spill out like this, but I don't think that's actually gonna be enough. I think that this little... Yeah, that is not going to be enough. That is definitely not going to be enough. And it is in our best interest to actually have a good water source of water over here. So I'm thinking we could do one more modification here. Two doesn't seem to be enough, so we'll need to do it this way. Come on. Okay. So this is getting a little bit complicated, but we'll be fine, don't worry. I have a plan. Okay, let's rotate this and have it like this, so. And we'll build a little bit of a path over here. Which means that we also need to do this to be able to access this area properly. Alright, and then once we blow this up, the bad water is going to be going this way. But it also means that we need floodgates over here. Because if we don't have a floodgate over here, the bad water is just going to be, or the good water is just always going to be going away. So okay, once we blow this one up, there will have to be another set of gates in the middle here. Actually, I could already plan for it here, like so. So that we will always have one side open and the other one closed. Alright, I like that. That is a pretty good thing. And it's gonna be a major project. Can you imagine how many logs we'll need just for this one? And that is going to be... But it will make the island usable again, I hope. I sincerely hope, because, you know, it has been a useless thing. Alright, and the last thing, we wanted to build the automated pump here. So that's going to be the secondary project that we're actually gonna do. This is gonna be built after. So first this, second, well, I guess it really doesn't matter. Second this, I guess, and third this. And I also want to plan it now because it is going to be a bit of an undertaking. So we will need to use the mechanical fluid pump, which actually dumps water from one side to the other, and it needs to be put. How does that work? Like so. It has a maximum depth of 5. So where is the maximum depth it can reach? Nowhere. Alright, so I guess... But that's the issue. If we truly dump the water, it's not going to be able to get to it. So it would still need to be far behind. This area is really, really low. We would need to get it somewhere like here, but it has a 1, 2, 3, 4, so it can only be slightly higher, and this is a little bit problematic. I've not thought of that. So this would be the best area, but we would need to extend everything significantly. So that's not a great solution. Alternatively, I could just pull out a water pump or a large water pump and have it located somewhere like here, which would definitely reach out all the way to the bottom, and we could use a simple but that would mean that the people would have to access this, or we can just blow everything up in this area. That is also an option. If I blow this one, hold on, if I build that, this is a complicated stuff. We're getting to the late game and the things here are never really easy. So let's assume we blow it all the way to the bottom, like so. Would you be able to get there? How deep can you get? You could. So we could positively get all... I'm actually gonna... I can't see it properly. Yeah, you can get all the way to the bottom from here. And that's the height of this. Alright, so if we put it like here, that makes sense. Alright, thank you for this game. So if we put it here, would that work? It is a mechanical fluid pump. Yes, it would work here. It would work here, and we could blow up all of this area using a dynamite and get it down there. Alright, but that means this area will be inaccessible, because we'll build this one over here, and we will also need to power it using 700. That's complicated, man. I will have to build some kind of a thing here that would drive all of this. Maybe we should think about that first, but if we build it here... Now bear with me, this is how, I'm gonna show you a little bit of a process here. So if we build them here, let's assume each gives us 200. It's not a full process, but it is enough power. And we cannot connect this because it is too high. So I need to do this. And then a translation like this. And here. Vertical, 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 vertical. Now we're hitting another issue because there needs to be access to the fluid dump over here. So you need to go like this, and you'll have it vertical, vertical, vertical. Okay, like so. This actually works. That is a crazy contraption when you think about it. Now you put the machine over here. Well, we know we want it, so let's unlock it, because that is something that I actually do want. And I will put this here. Now that connects, that works. And the question is, what the hell do we do with you? Because now we are kind of screwed when it comes to the connection. Because I can build all of this. I can have my beavers access it. That's not an issue. I could even build more of these power wheels over here. But how do we deal with this area? Because the only thing I can think of, well, once we blow out all of this area, is to build some kind of a insanely tall bridge. Or I just downright built another stairs down here, basically. That's the only thing that I can think of to access this. Which might be way simpler, honestly, to just go like so. Because, I mean, literally, this is a much easier way to handle this. Okay, and the water wheels over here. That is another question. Because I could potentially also build 3, which would be a little bit better. 1, 2, and then one more here. Would that work? And then I would need to channel the water this way. All right, I'll keep this as a low-level plan. I don't think we actually need to do this now. But we know what we're planning, basically. And we'll just need to put it into action. So I'll keep this here just as a reminder for myself, because that is going to be the next part. All right, well, so now we have our ideas set for the next episode. And I think this is going to be good. Well, so what we need to do now is fingers crossed that we do not all die due to starvation. And we're going to finish this. Then we're going to finish all of this, which is also another crazy task, but I dig it. And then we're going to start utilizing this. And if it works, then I'm going to be happy beaver, because we're going to get some biscuits for our beavers. And then we're gonna just start draining stuff and seeing what we can do. But this is really good, because I think, actually I didn't show you, but I'm pretty sure that there is a setting here. Yes, you can pump water, you can pump whatever there is, water or bad water, so this is gonna be good. You need 3D planks, metal blocks. Alright, well, I'll just figure out this stuff under the sea, because we'll need it speaks to me volumes that we will need some kind of a land bridge over here along the path, so that the beavers can access it and build it, so that the pump can actually work here. But it's way less complicated than I thought. All I'll need to figure out is actually how to blow up this area and how to channel the water, because you see there's a lot of current, but it's all around the place, and if we wanted to channel it you ideally build basically stuff like this. You build 2 sets of levees and you put the water wheel in between, because the water will then flow just through this area and power the water wheel much more. So it might eventually be more beneficial for us to have just 2 sets of wheels, but have them channeled like this in what is basically a large scale current. I could just build it, I don't know, like so, you know, and have the water just flow through this area where we have the 2 water wheels, rather than actually having a full-on set of free wheels. But I have to experiment with it a little bit, see what's gonna work and, you know, what's gonna be beneficial for us, because this is an undertaking for another time. First, we have other plans, but I wanted to demonstrate what we're gonna plan here. And this episode is already probably extremely long, and while you might appreciate the thought process that I have, it is very likely this is going to look like completely different than what we saw here. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Fingers crossed that we do not starve, and I'll see you next time.